there you go. All right. This is a lecture that I wanted to share with all of you in the different groups, because this is something that always come up from people who needs to understand how is it possible to achieve such gains in whatever you do. I had a discussion a couple of days ago with an elite performer, and how is it possible? How was it possible? Why? How can I explain that I achieved these results? No pain, no inflammation, and the incredible results that I achieved. Was the question on such small inputs, seemingly small inputs, because he had problems to explain it. Even I had done it, and they understood it. But again, we want people to own their own understanding so they can explain how is this possible. And it's, for many people, it is difficult to understand when we use mathematics, because you need to have numbers in science. Otherwise, you're just guessing, because then you can't test if you have achieved results based on the effort and the strategies and principles we set in. So we know that we have a minimum effective dose and so forth, so we can measure results. So I know what to do to help whatever kind of sapien I work with. Everyone is an athlete, trained like one. Like my sport is life. This person I work with was a competition that they had to perform well in. All right. So this is something that I really like to talk about and explain, because it's so important in whatever you do, and also in your other parts of life. Because when you work with the brain first, it's of course everything it is, everything matters in life, because you have to have a system that keeps you on track in whatever you do, so you don't fall behind. Keep learning the rest of your life. Keep developing the rest of your life in whatever you do, and absolutely not in the fitness craze. That's not what I'm talking about. Be an awesome person for the planet. Learn how to do that. Learn what to do the next 10 years, and understand that this is something you do rest of your life. So in this, what I do with you, and well, that's what I do. I'm like a bridge to other systems. If you ski, bowling, and just want to be an awesome person, well, in whatever you do, if you do Zumba, tango, karate, or nothing, gaming, play chess, or go, then you need me if you want to perform better. And this is how it works. And it comes from James Clear. He wrote a book that's called Atomic Habits. And he's nothing new per se, but he put it in a context that is extremely fun to work with, and it works. It's called 1% rule, and it's turn it off. Compound effect. It's a compound effect. All right. So that was an introduction. So let's go. Have you ever really wondered, why some people seem to make incredible progress? I mean, really incredible progress, while most others, in whatever you do, they stay stuck, right? Even though they are putting in the same amount of effort. We see that all over the place, right? Especially on social media. How do they do it? And here's the principle that I talk about. It's not about working harder, minimum effective dose. It's not about motivation. Not about motivation. It's not about willpower. Nope, not about willpower. It's about something much simpler, right? Much simpler. And honestly, when we talk about rational thinking and science, much more powerful. James Clear, 1% rule. And that's what it's called, the 1% rule. Write that down. It comes from James Clear's best-selling book. I read it so many times. I reread it. I have it on audiobooks and so forth in Swedish and English. And today I'm gonna give you probably the most important and best lecture ever. And I'm gonna break it down, how it works exactly, because I want to show you the mathematics behind it, so you can understand what we're doing this year. And most importantly, of course, I want you to understand why James Clear's Atomic Habits 1% rule changes everything when you know about the compound principles, how to approach it, and how to make improvements in your life. This is what we do. This is what it means really with brain first principle. All right, this is important. Section 1, core concepts. Harry Potter today. Core concept. All right. See, there you go. I have some notes. Here's the idea in one sentence. If you get just 1% better, 1% better every single day for a whole year, you won't end up 365% better. See, this is the math. You'll end up 37 times better. Did you hear me? 37 times better. People say, what? What? How does that work? Mathematics. Compound. So let me explain. Checking my notes. Do the right thing. Most people think that improvement is linear. Most people think that still. 2026. You improve a little today, a little tomorrow, and it all adds up in a straight line, or a straight line like this, whatever line. But that's not how growth actually works in real life. Still, people believe it is like that, linear. All right, real growth, we could talk about real growth, right, is exponential growth. Super important. Exponential growth. Exponential. It compounds. It compounds. Just like money in a savings account earning interest, right? Each tiny improvement builds on top of the last one. You with me? And over time, patience, my young Padawan, those tiny improvements multiply into massive results. Right. So James Clear, he uses a simple formula, and for me, it was mind-blowing. Changed my life forever. And the simple formula to illustrate that, it's 1.01 to the power of 365. Why 1.01 to the power of 365? In other words, what happens if you or me, just improve 1% every day for a year? That's what we are doing. All right. 1.01. 365. The answer is 37.78. That means you're not just 365% better. You're nearly 38 times better. 38 times better than when you started. And that's the power of rational thinking. And that's the power of compounding. Compounding. All right. Okay. Section 2. And here's the flip side, as always. Decline compounds too. Decline, it goes on the other side. Specific adaptation to impulse demand compounds. And that's what we see in society. The third chimpanzee are not doing well. They don't talk about it, but it is just as important, the dark side of the force. The compound effect works in both directions, of course. If you get 1% worse every day, right? Self-destruct. The math looks like this: 0.99 to the power of 365. The result, 0.03. That means you decline to nearly zero. You're left with almost nothing. Specific adaptation to impulse demand compounds. See, this is the most important lecture I'm going to give you, I bet. I hope. So here's the truth. The truth in rational thinking. Every single day, you're either compounding in the right direction, your choice, or the wrong direction, also your choice. There's no standing still. No standing still. Small choices. What you eat, whether you exercise, whatever you exercise. If you practice that skill for 10 minutes, the skill that I teach you, some people would say they're insignificant. Oh, you should do this and that instead. They might seem insignificant in the moment, but over time in this training, they determine everything. everything. So that's why I teach people why habits matter. Why does this matter? Why do I emphasize that so much? Because they're a daily 1%. 1% that either builds you up or breaks you down. It's your choice. Strange, right? Should have taught that in schools. Hmm? All right, let's give you some real examples. That's important. And also, of course, read the book, continue work with me, spread the word, tell other people that we use this kind of principles. And then you, of course, will understand what we're doing in classes, why I give you the extra videos so you can keep doing 1% more every day. All right. How does it look in real life? Yeah. In fitness training, imagine you want to get stronger. Imagine that. Well, you don't need to add 50 pounds to your squat overnight. That's impossible and quite stupid. And all right, so you just need to add one more rep this week. One more rep this week. One more. Or lift 2 pounds heavier next month. Tiny, almost invisible improvements. But a year from now, you'll be unrecognizable. I may manage that. Unrecognizable compared to where you started, A to B. That's what a coach do. A coach is a wagon or a transport you from one place to another. Example 2, that's what I'm doing in Japanese. I learn language. Good for your brain and it's fun. I don't need to study for 3 hours a day. All right? 10 minutes of consistent practice. I learn 5 new words. 5 new words. Reviewing one grammar rule, because I suck at it. I'm really bad at it. But it feels like nothing, so I do it. I manage. And after a year, several years of compounding that effort, yeah, you'll be conversational. It's like playing with the brain. I make you conversational in applied neuroscience. This is what I do too in my podcast, writing and creativity. If I write 100 words per day, 100 words per day, that's one paragraph a day, barely noticeable. But you know what? In a year, I produce 36,500 words. That's an entire book. And I'm breaking that down in my podcast about the adventures on USS Paradox. All right. Something that took me 5 minutes per day. See what I mean? That's why this works. Do you see the pattern? The improvements are so small, very small, that they feel almost pointless. And that's why people fail, because they fail to imagine what it does because they don't know compound and they can't do the math. And that's exactly why this works. Because it's easy to do. You don't you don't need motivation. I don't work with motivation, right? I work with telling people that it requires consistency. Consistency. Section 4. Why do people give up? Well, now you know the answer. Why do kids give up studying more? Right? Pretty hard to do studies if you don't know how to do it. Here's the problem. Training, school, studying, writing, whatever you want to do. For the first few weeks or even months, you won't see results. You feel like nothing. You feel like really nothing is happening. People want a quick fix. That's what I see in TikTok. He has so many muscles. Looks great, you know. People quit. So James Clear, well, he taught me that this is the valley of disappointment. People get disappointed. It's a gap between when you start and when you finally see, because people need to see visible progress. And it's brutal. With me? But here's what you really need to understand this. The results are happening. Definitely. I guarantee it. In whatever you do using this principle, they're just not visible yet. Because we're talking of growth, and it's like an ice cube sitting on a table in a cold room. If you have this and you imagine that you raise the temperature from 25 degrees to 26, then 27, and then 28, what happens? Nothing. Nothing happens. The ice cube just sits there. But when you hit, say, 32 degrees, suddenly it melts. Suddenly it starts melting. And what do we call that? Compounding. We're compounding. We are compounding, man. Right? The work isn't wasted. It's being stored. And one day, all at once, you'll break through. And that's when people around you will call it an overnight success. But you will know the truth based on science and mathematics. Thank you, Dad. 1% every day for months after month or year after year that nobody saw. You went monk mode. You can conquer whatever you want, like I did. I was in trouble a year ago. Fixed it. 1%. Compounding my efforts. All right, getting there. 24 minutes. All right, so how do you use this actually? How do I do this in my own life? I walk the talk. I have to. This is how we do it. Pick one thing, whatever, like we're doing here in our protocol. But pick another thing you want to improve, just one. Don't try to overhaul your entire life. That doesn't work. Yeah, that's right. It gives you a burnout. People burn out. Step 2, ask yourself, write it up. You have to write this up. What's the smallest possible action, minimum effective dose I could take today that moves you 1% forward? Not 10%, not 50%. Discipline yourself, just 1%. 1%. So step 3, well, then you have to do that action. And what do you do tomorrow? You do that action again. And the day after that. And the day after that. You don't have to worry about the results. You just have to focus on one thing. Show up. So, step 4, you have to trust the process. That's why many people fail. They start to walk around and try other things and they lose trust in the process. The compound effect is invisible at first, but the compound effect is real. It's true. And if you stick to it long enough, the result will shock you. That's what I work with, compounding people's strategies so they can rewire their brain 1% a day. You don't need to be twice as good as you are today. You just need to be 1% better. That's important for kids to know. If you do that consistently, a year from now, you won't even recognize the person you become. You got to follow my lectures and videos, and you have to do what I'm teaching you because this is what you have paid me for. All right. Thanks for watching. Hope you like this lecture. Share it with other people because this I want you to share. Do this 1% improvement today. And that's why you get more videos. 1%. All right. I'm going to give you, during the year, you're going to get more references on what this is and key points to remember. But today, 1.01 times 365 is 37.78%, improving 1% daily for a year. That makes you 37 times better. I'm going to open the door. See you soon. Thanks for listening.